Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Sharing Jesus podcast here at Sharon Baptist Church in Benton, Arkansas. My name is Michael Reese, pastor at Sharon Baptist Church. Also, we have Rob Gaddis, my associate pastor. Glad to have him here with us. And as our special guest today, we have Anthony and Gail Wright, some of our faithful church members. We're going to be interviewing them and visiting with them and getting to know them better. All things Anthony and Gail Wright. Looking forward to this conversation, and listen along as we have this with y'all and getting to know you. And which I've been your pastor here about 11 years and had lots of neat memories and lots of good times together. So glad that y'all could join us today. And Miss Gail, how in the world did y'all meet?
Believe it or not, we actually were in third grade together in elementary school.
What school was that?
Howard Perrin.
Okay.
And I didn't remember that, but I was looking through old pictures and, you get your class picture made. And we were in the same class, and I was like, we were in the same class. We had Miss Clark.
That flung a craving on her, preacher.
No.
Was he that handsome back then?
No.
Oh, he wasn't?
No. Like I said, I didn't even remember that. And then we met actually after I graduated. I graduated in May of 1979, and then I met him in June.
Okay. And so the 1 month later after you graduated?
Yes.
And so who saw who first? I think I know the answer to this one.
I saw her first.
That's what I thought.
And I was the one with the craving flung on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the truth was known, yeah.
It does.
So we had a mutual real good, one of her real close girlfriends. I didn't know it at the time. I knew a girl through, back in the day, they were called youth rallies. All churches, would get together and go. And this girl, I knew her real well. I said, "Who is that?" Because I'd done been out of school a year and losing track with life in general. And she said, "That's Gail." I said, "Whoa, get me fixed up with a date."
Yes.
And that's where it started.
That's where it all began.
And you know where that was, where he saw me?
Where were you at?
Wendy's on Military.
Is it in the same location?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
First date was actually sitting by the window at Wendy's,
Okay.
eating a hamburger.
Eating a hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
You'd been out of school a while, and so that's y'all's first date, Wendy's.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And go ahead and move that pole away from that deal, Anthony. It's knocking against the desk. Perfect. Well, too cool, and then the rest is history. Y'all got married here at Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
How long have y'all been at Sharon?
Well, after I met him and we kind of started dating exclusively, I would say, we decided, I went to church at Calvary Baptist Church, and he was active here at Sharon. Naturally, he's been here his whole life. So we decided that we would just visit each other's churches, and then we would make a decision. He came to Calvary with me a couple of times, and then I came to Sharon with him, and it didn't take long at all for me to say, we need to go to Sharon.
Okay.
So I joined, I can't remember the exact date, but I would say around the first part of the year, like probably in December, January, of that following year in 80. And I've been here ever since.
Okay.
And we got married in May of 80.
Yes.
Okay, that means, goodness, then Brother Trop didn't do y'all's.
Phil Pinkstaff.
Phil Pinkstaff
He was
did.
the pastor then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That, of course, that's in the old auditorium.
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Well, walking in, I show people the church, and it's made up. Besides the fellowship hall, there's 3 auditoriums, and it's pretty. And I'll take somebody down there to I call it the museum,
Yes.
which is that glassed-in area. But you can see that old picture of the front of that church and the people standing out in front of it. And the whole time I'm leaning against the brick, and they haven't put two and two together.
Yeah.
And then I say, well, you see that arch inside that picture? And then I'm leaning up against that brick, and I'll say, we're touching that same brick right now.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty neat deal to visualize that, of course, upstairs, downstairs, in all three auditoriums.
Yep.
Pretty neat.
In fact, the other day I went down to see Karen's classroom downstairs, and I was visiting with her, and I said, this used to be the old fellowship hall. And she said, what? And I said, yes, I had my wedding shower and my wedding reception in this room. Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, that's just so strange to me, because
visualizing.
Yeah, visualizing that.
And that old serving area is still there. I call it Bob's classroom or Bob's room, Bob's office, which is our tool room now. And you can see the shutter where they in the sink and everything where they fixed whatever and served through that window for the fellowship hall. And now this is our fellowship hall now, the building right next to us. And so that was the fellowship hall until that was built, I guess.
Yeah,
it was.
And so about 94, 95. And Rob, just jump in here, interject at any time. You had some questions, I think you were.
I did. Just
boy.
Just some couple of fun ones. Well, I want to hear some pet peeves.
Oh my!
What
Are
does
you already trying to create a fight?
I'll give you a real good one.
Okay, that you have with Gail?
This is on the road with Gail.
Okay.
We're through with we usually finish our traveling. That was for 25 years, we almost did not leave each other's side. We worked every day, all the time together. The worst pet peeve, if I had something I wanted to go do on Monday or for the next week, I would tell her to grab her a snack and something extra to drink. We're not stopping tonight. If you want to travel, if you want to really light her torch, don't stop and get a motel. That's a bad pet peeve with her. Because I could drive all night. It was never a problem for me to.
Right.
But she didn't really enjoy it.
You like to stop?
I'm pretty much toast after about 9 hours. That's about my max. 9 to 10 hours. And then I'm like, we got to stop. I mean, I'm getting grouchy.
Since you segued into that, just Anthony or Gail, what are y'all doing all this traveling for?
Say that again?
Yeah, our listening audience has no clue about why y'all are traveling everywhere.
For 25 years, we worked almost 25 for FLW. And at the end, we changed to another company and kept on doing tournaments. But we put on fishing tournaments. If it was televised on any television channel, station, our company had something to do with it. And we traveled and put those on all over the country.
It's pretty neat. Anthony has told me the story about you kind of working behind the scenes on computers, kind of providing the information for Anthony. If he's the tournament director that week and he's on stage, he has that information already.
Yes.
As they walk
I
up.
did all of the behind the scenes, I would say the guts of running the tournament as far as IT, and I wrote the check, I printed out the checks, signed the checks, paid everybody, did that sort of background work, but
no one had a clue that I had a computer with every word that I said on it, all because she had entered it in. If they entered Michael Reese or Rob Gaddis were the next two people to weigh in, it would put all your stats on that.
Wow.
And it would tell how many tournaments you had fished, how much money you had won, what was your biggest fish. So I always had something to talk about, and it was all because that's what she put on the screen for me. People would walk up after the tournament like, how do you have all that information in your head? They had no idea.
Did you take credit for it?
Oh, yes.
I'm just that good.
Absolutely, I did.
Yeah.
Now he kind of got busted out when we switched over from FLW and we started working for Bass Pro Shop and did the Johnny Morris U.S. Opens. We were on stage one time and their system was not set up for him to read it off the screen. So I actually talked to him through an earpiece in his ear when he was on the stage, and then
That was bad too, Robert. Bad.
Yeah.
and he had to listen to me then. But anyway, and I had everything written down, so I would feed him this information through his earpiece while he was up there going through weigh-in. And people would come up and, God, how do you remember all this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And the other guy that was up there with him, there was a guy that he was called Cowboy Clay, and he was the entertainer up there, and he kind of warmed the crowd up was what he would do. He busted him out live one time on TV and said, yeah, if it wasn't for your wife back there feeding you all that information in your ear, and just really told on him. And I thought that was hilarious. I was back there getting very tickled about it.
Something like that you just got to roll with.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So Anthony had his turn. So what is your pet peeve about Anthony?
She
And
doesn't-
hey, and this
she
is the
doesn't-
honesty table, by the way.
I don't think she has one, Rob.
Okay.
Probably not.
And it changes as you get older. What I used to be aggravated at him about, I'm not now. But now, all of a sudden, he was a fireman for 25 years before he retired. So he was the cook down there. He cooked because he didn't want to do the dishes. So whoever cooked didn't have to do the dishes at the fire department. So he cooked a lot. He cleaned. He knows how to do all that stuff. And I said, why is it now you can't even shut the pantry door after you open it? Or you just, stuff
I
that
had no idea about this.
Yeah, I thought it closed automatically.
Yeah, exactly. I said, honey, that door closes the same way you open it. Just shut it back,
That almost sounds like, Karen's got those, whether it be in the bathroom or just putting stuff up. I had you got shoes I wear on Sundays, shoes I wear for work, shoes I wear for whatever casual, and I just leave them all lined up. I thought it was a neat system, but I found out she does not like that.
Didn't like the system.
No, she wanted it in the closet. I said, what difference does it
Another
make?
thing he conveniently forgot how to do when we were at FLW, and he had to be there every Monday for a director's meeting and sometimes through the week, and I'd go up there and join him if we had a tournament like in Michigan or wherever. We would leave from Kentucky. But he was there all week and worked on Excel, did all this stuff yes, Michael's looking at me funny. Did all this computer stuff, and we left FLW and got hired with Outdoor Teamworks, which is Carico TV and Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's, and he all of a sudden forgot how to do anything on a computer.
Because you were there.
I was there.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was, honey, can you do this for me? Honey, can you do this for me?
It's so easy. I just admitted it in front of the whole. We got an average of about 50 that come to our Senior Saints luncheon. I love being dependent or don't mind at all on others, but I found out that I started losing a step the more I let other people do it for me. But
Oh, I know.
it's convenient forgetting
Yes.
and easy.
Yeah.
What else you got, Brother Raw?
Well, we can switch it over to be a little bit more serious. So just to kind of start it off, if y'all could give a young newlywed some advice, what would it be?
I would say don't let the first year of marriage base how it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's not true. That first year, you're learning, they're learning. It's not fun.
Like I said, especially if you're young.
Yeah, if you're brand new at it, it's a bad deal that first year. So just bear with it. It'll get better.
In fact, you saying that, I got tickled because our neighbors are newlywed. They've been married like a year. He came over to see Anthony the other day, and he said, man, our first year of marriage wasn't good. And Anthony was like, just exactly what Anthony said, that just getting to know each other is stressful,
It is. It's a matter of fact, I heard a preacher say this about, he was a missionary, and he later on started teaching other missionaries, and he said, going to a brand new place, kind of like whether you're pastor, and even a job, is you got to give it some time. And you're learning, they're learning you. And I've often, and he said, establish, I'm going to stick it out for 2 years. I'm just going to try it for 2 years. And it may not, maybe it was me, well, maybe it wasn't God. Talking about a missionary or maybe a job. And even pastoring, so I've seen some pastors pull the cord, after a year and a half, and just because they had a tiff or something went on. But you hang in there, you grind, you ask God to give you the strength, and same way in marriage.
And it's a choice.
Absolutely.
A lot of mornings, it's a choice.
A lot of, nowadays it's the average big time in numbers is they're not going to make it a year. They just divorce and go get a different one.
Right. Yeah, and that's just not how we were.
Nope.
It's not the pattern that Jesus laid out for us. And
No.
No.
so let me ask, so kind of on the same vein, what has helped y'all stay committed during difficult seasons in y'all's lives?
Oh, Jesus, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely. There's no other answer, no other reason for staying together or making it.
And you said, so many people, these marriages fall apart in families because the lack of Jesus in their lives.
Absolutely.
And I think
before I got saved, whenever I was ninth grade, so that would have made me about, 15, I guess.
14, 15.
Yeah, and I got saved, and in high school, I dated a boy, and he was Church of Christ, but I don't think he was saved, and it was just a miserable, we dated for about 2 years, and then when we were no longer dating, in fact, I stopped dating him right when I graduated, and then I met Anthony like the next month or two. And I had prayed, and I said, I will not date another boy that is not a Christian, that is not saved. I will not even go down the avenue. I had prayed about it, and I had just a list of things that I was not going to, give in on, and that was one of them. And then I met Anthony, and we based our whole relationship on the Lord, and prayed on our honeymoon, read out of Song of Solomon, and just.
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah. And that's just that's just what we've always kind of based our relationship on.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, these people that don't have Jesus as their root, they're just doomed.
I don't.
And some make it.
Yeah.
But it's not very likely.
I don't know how people that don't have the Lord cope.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, through life with no hope in your life. So.
Now, I've seen through the years people that didn't have the Lord, and they were raised in either our generation, really older, the next generation, my parents' generation. Some of them just stayed committed, and they just they didn't have the common denominator of Jesus, but they stayed committed just because that's what you do.
Yeah,
especially back 100 years ago. That was. You didn't want to let your family down,
right?
That kind of thing. Right. Yeah.
But but some of them lived in misery because they were just tolerating, and they didn't want to cause a black eye on the family or something like that. Yeah. And but when that wasn't the culture anymore, like y'all just described, that it's just like pick a new card out of the deck.
Yeah, marriage is so disposable. And then of course babies' lives, and I don't want to get off into that, but
yeah.
If Jesus is not in the root of what you're doing, then everything's just off. And it took me a long time to realize that. So, and y'all are great servers here at church. Anthony he was getting ice together this morning and wheeling people's trash out the thing. What is it in y'all that y'all want to serve so much? What is the driving force behind that? And because people, you got to learn how to serve. It's to some people it doesn't come easy. So I guess my question is, where does that desire come from to serve others?
I remember whenever I was young, we got married. I was 19. I was a baby. I was 19 when I got married.
What is y'all's age difference?
He's 6 months older than me.
Okay, y'all right there together.
Yeah. And I remember, I believe it was Janice Barker came up to me and said, "Hey, would you like to help me with the Children's Chapel?" You know, they had started Children's Church here. And I did not know one thing about it. And I said, okay. I mean, I wasn't going to tell her no. And so I started with that, scared to death, like teaching the kids. I didn't know what I was doing. But I jumped in there, and just some of the older members that had been doing it were an encouragement to me. And that's what it takes. It takes some of the older people with experience pouring into the younger ones that are willing, but they don't really have the experience, or they're hesitant to do it. So I started with that, and then just progressed from there. And then, you know, every year, I mean, I was always in children's church. I did Bible school every year. I directed, was assistant director, did all that, and just went from there. We used to have a puppet ministry too, and Anthony and I were directors of the puppet ministry. Do you remember when they used to do puppets?
Oh, yeah.
Years ago?
We still have a lot of, or several puppets, as well as some of the stage style materials and everything.
In fact, we held a clinic. Other churches came to the clinic just to see how we did our ministry. Yeah, that was a big ministry. Okay. Yeah.
I like the flannel boards too. I don't want to get off track, but I love the flannel board.
Oh, yes.
You know, Jimmy Fern does that now, and the kids love it.
She's the queen of it.
Yeah.
She did it when I was little. Yeah.
And you know, there are a few years, them kids don't want to see that.
Yes, they do.
It's new technology
love it.
to them. They don't
need these screens.
Yeah, they've never seen it. Yeah.
They've had screens in front of them, and that flannel's new to them.
Something different. Yeah.
Yes. And Jimmy Fern can make that flannel talk. She can. She can make it tell a story. Yeah, she's great.
What do you enjoy about serving?
You said something about it. It's a learning process, and it's, man, when you're in your 20s and 30s, and me halfway in my 40s, it was about getting out there working 16, 20 hours a day. Now it's so much easier to serve it, just because you're not trying to grind out a living like you were back then. So it's easier in that respect.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I asked the Lord long time ago when we were beating the asphalt down, and somebody asked me, "Hey, can you do so-and-so Sunday?" and give me the date, and I'd look, no, I'm going to be in Michigan or New York the day before that. I won't be back in time. And so I said, Lord, if you'll let us live, let us pay our bills and retire, then it'll all be easy and it'll be good.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
and you're at that point now.
and it's been that way for how long?
We retired in 2023.
Okay.
So it's better and better and better.
Yeah.
But also it was kind of a rule of his, or understanding between us. And sometimes I'd get aggravated, but I stood behind him. That if we were how many hours after a tournament, if it was how many hours home, we were driving home because we were going to be at church.
If it was 14 hours or less, then we were coming home.
Man, I love that, because, you know, we talk about things being disposable, and now Sunday worship, a lot of these younger folks, they'll come to church if there's nothing else on the calendar.
You're exactly right. Or if it's bad weather and they can't go to the lake, or their ball games got canceled.
So don't get me started on Sunday ball.
Oh, me either. I'm all with you on that. We could really have a podcast on that. Yeah.
So that was our rule. And back when Brother Richard was our... Oh, I'm just sitting there, you know, listening to the preaching.
On Sunday morning.
Yeah. Go ahead and tell them.
He said, there's 3 people in this church that I admire. And I was just sitting there, I was thinking, oh, what's he fixing to say? And he said, one of them's Anthony Wright. And he said, and Anthony I could just see him just sinking down, like, why'd he say that? And he said, brother, I admire you because I'll see you in this pew on Sunday morning, and I know he's been up in Michigan or wherever, and he's driven all night to get here, you know.
Yeah.
And Anthony called him later and said, don't ever do that again. Why did you do that? And he said, I'm sorry. I just had to do that.
Be a sermon illustration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what you'd mentioned earlier about that, and I, speaking of learning as you're getting going in life, it's I used to, and I thought it was just being a pastor, I would kind of chide in a picking way men that I would see fall asleep in church.
Yep.
And you know, it's easy to pick on other guys. I mean, we've grown up doing it, and sometimes you slough it off. And then, but I guess it was the Lord kind of bothered me, and it's also, I think, part of my wiring, is that fella, like you just described, has worked swing shift, or he's put in 12 hours on a Saturday, and he hadn't sat still ever, and he's now sitting still. And there's so many guys, even guys that just work regular 8 hours shifts. They sit still, and their eyes are closing. And so I said, I started telling myself, I'm just glad they're there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're praying.
Yeah.
They're praying quietly.
He actually has a very funny story about falling asleep in church. If you want,
Oh, yeah,
not him, but
Oh, who can we jump on?
Oh, you'll love this. When I was about 7, 8 years old, Sunday night used to be when we had our business meeting after the sermon, and then Uncle Red McNeil was the secretary treasurer, and Burl Ziegler was the preacher, and he went through whoever did whatever they did, and he said, hey, Brother Red, would you mind doing the secretary report? And he was asleep.
Oh, no.
Nobody knew it. He didn't even notice it, didn't know it. Well, in a minute, his wife elbowed him in the ribs, and he jumped up. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us be here at church tonight, and keep us safe as we go home, and sat back down. And everybody behind him exploded into laughter. Brother Ziegler said, Brother Red, I appreciate that prayer. Now do you mind coming up here and doing the report? And I always was like, if I've got anything to do, I will bite my lip or whatever to keep from going to sleep, because that was rough right there. And I was just a little kid.
That stuck out.
Oh, yeah.
Painful. Anytime we have an emotional event happen to us, whether super happy or super sad or embarrassing, that memory will stick.
Oh,
It's
sticks,
there. Yeah.
I call those tent poles in life.
That's right.
I like that.
Because it marks time. So let me ask a couple of more questions. We're going to finish strong here. Y'all got some grandkids that y'all are sort of proud of, aren't you?
we kind of like them a little bit.
Yeah, y'all might keep them. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are y'all's hope for them?
That's a neat question.
My
That's why I'm here.
number one hope, and I think his would be too, is that they know Jesus Christ as their
Yeah.
Savior. Because I want to see them again one day when
Yes.
I'm no longer here.
Yes.
And that they just be kind, respectful, a good human being all the way around. I think we're lacking in that now. Just kindness and empathy towards others, and just being gracious and just genuine, And Quinn, bless her heart, he's just sweet as he can be, but Quinn is very tender-hearted. And I pray she keeps that tender-heartedness towards others and compassion as she grows older.
See, she just stated Wells is sweet. I think he's as mean as a spider.
Yeah.
And that's what triggers me to love him even more.
Well, you teach him to like pain.
Yeah.
Well, see, he told Gail that the other day. He had a big old scab mark on his leg, and she said, "Just be still. Let me go get a Band-Aid." No, Gigi, don't get a Band-Aid. I love pain.
He's like, what, 2.5?
He's
Yeah.
he'll be 3 in January. And I said, Anthony, now see what you're teaching him. No, he needs a Band-Aid on his knee.
Now our oldest grandson, 16, and I try not to let 2 days go by without texting him. Pray for you. I love you.
I love that.
But
That's good stuff.
The
Y'all-
little
y'all
ones-
have a lot of adventures together.
Yes.
oh yeah,
You know,
yeah. Him being 16, I'm gonna say when he was from 6 to 14 or 15, it was 6 days a week at least that me and him were in a truck together, tractor together, whatever. But the little ones are still, that's over their head right now. You can tell them Jesus loves them, but not like I can him.
Right.
But
Yeah.
And Hudson being 16 now, we knew the day was coming that we wouldn't get to. He's in the typical teenage
Yeah.
boy things. He is very active in school, very active on all of his extracurricular. So we don't get to see Hudson as much as we used to. But, I know that he loves Jesus and he's saved, and
Yeah.
that's on his screensaver on his phone. He does his devotional every morning and drives himself to church. So, I'm thrilled about that. And then we have another one in Florida, John, that we don't get to see as much, which is hard on Gigi.
and how old is that one?
John is 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is difficult. I know when our kids moved off to Arizona, that happened in 2019, a year Owen was born. And I was thinking, oh boy, it broke our heart a little bit, but they were trying to follow the Lord and do what the Lord let them do. And we understood that, but still as grandparents. And, Rob brought up being the grandparent in this season. What would y'all think is your the most exciting or fun, or the something you get the most enjoyment this season that y'all just entered into since you've retired, full-time grandparents besides the hobbies and actions and everything? What's the favorite thing and most frustrating thing about this season in y'all's life?
favorite is obviously, to me, just getting to see them and just continually jack with them, whichever one it is. Everybody's got their own. And so far, I don't know that I could pick frustrated, except maybe the worry that's in the back of your mind of how will it turn out for them. We had something to say, all four of us sitting here, in the way our future turned out, but we have nothing except us and the Lord to try to influence each one of our grandkids, and that's a scary deal.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
that frustrates me, I guess, because there's no other. Just rely on the Lord, and whatever happens, happens.
One of the things that frustrates me, and I know both y'all can relate to this, is that I was so active in raising my kids, and I realized, and it just especially the last 18 months, it happened that you start having health problems and this thing crop, and I'm like, all that activity I did with the kids, I'm going to have to be a lot smarter, or I can't do what I did with them that I would love to do with the grandkids, but I'm not able.
Right.
Yeah.
That-
It's things though that'll come, and I've been planning that. One, I used to go to, my grandfather was a horse and cattle salesman, and he would, back then, a horse, for instance, would bring $15 or $17.85. They would dicker back and forth, and those kind of things. But we'd go to horse and cow sales on almost a daily basis, and it's the little memories that every one of those grandkids have heard me tell them. Papa, he'd get a dime out of his pocket, and he'd say, "Hey, bud, run up there and get us a couple of nickel cones." Well, you can't buy a cone for $2 and a nickel hardly now, but those kind of memories of doing things that whatever they love, whatever it is, pour the gas on it.
Yes.
And then when they're 40 years old, they'll say, I remember. And that's all we got.
Yeah.
You know?
That
So-
exact scenario happened to me the other day with my two oldest grandsons, and it was down to Big. That's my grandpa name. That to babysit them. They just don't leave them home alone. Just right there at that age, and everybody had something to do. And so I said we played a few games. We played a board game, and then I said, you know what time it is? It's Dairy Queen time.
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
Went and got some ice cream to travel back. Of course, it's right down the road. They live in Alexander, and easy.
Yeah.
And
But those are the kind of things that you can't do jumping jacks and run through the woods with them, whatever now, but you can do things that they'll always remember.
yeah, if they'll walk, I'll be all right. Just walk, please.
And I had to make Samantha understand grandma and grandpa time is different than when they're with you.
Yeah.
We're going to do some things that you're not going to let them do. That's just what the grandparents.
You're
That's
not
part of
alone.
being a grandparent. You know.
Okay, I got one more question.
What you got, bro?
I didn't do the math, so how long have y'all been married in terms of years?
In May, it was 46.
Okay, so let me ask y'all, after 46 years of being together, what are y'all the most thankful for?
I told her 2 nights ago, she's sitting over in her recliner doing whatever it was. She was shopping or looking for something for them grandkids. I know what but I was sitting there watching Matt Dillon was just about to get in a bad situation.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Every time.
so they went to commercial, and I'm pretty bad to mute every commercial. And I said, this is what I thought 40, 50 years of marriage was supposed to be like.
Wow. Yeah, simple stuff.
I said the same thing. I said, just the. And I've been thinking this the past couple of days too. I'm kind of rambling here. I don't mean to be,
No, you're
but
good.
but you're like you just said, Brother Michael. Your body starts slowing down on you. Things start not working like and you get tired. You just do. You get tired quicker. And I said, I just want to stay home sometimes. I
Amen.
just want to stay home, and we'll stay home. And I said, it's just wonderful, like especially in the winter. I look over, he's in his recliner, I'm in mine. We're just in the living room. We got a fire going. We're just there, and it's just peaceful. It's just peaceful. That's what just being together and no drama and everything's just peaceful.
Yeah.
I heard a preacher say this the other day, and it rings true. By the way, y'all are a little bit ahead of Karen and myself, but we are really enjoying our empty nest time.
Yeah.
And it's exactly the way you just described it, where besides the health hiccups every now and then, it's fantastic, great. So I want to say to our listening audience, if we got some parents out there in the middle of raising kids, it's worth it. Now, here's what the preacher said. And I said, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, you're in the middle of making a living, grinding a living out, and you're raising kids and this and that. And there's a lot of times that, and it was about marriage, that you have shoulder to shoulder time, meaning that we're on the same team. We're trying to get a job done. We're trying to raise our kids. He said, but you need face-to-face time. And what that means is getting away. If you're in the middle of working, you have to find those times, whether it be a weekend or a day, even just go out people say go out on a date. But it's called face-to-face times. And a lot of marriages struggle at, later after the kids are raised or they move out because they had a lot of shoulder-to-shoulder time. They're raising kids. They're on the team. But face-to-face time is when you invest in each other.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wow, that's really good stuff. I like that phrasing.
It's easy to lose track of that person as your partner because of what you just said. You're busy just in the trenches, living life and raising children. We were very fortunate being able to work together and travel together. We had a lot of time in a vehicle together to talk and interact and, that sort of thing. So we were very fortunate in that area.
The Lord blessed us so much that we never even saw this coming. But one day she was there at the house, and we planned our tournaments a year in advance for a lot of reasons, but we picked them about a year and a half in advance, and I had never had any tournaments in New York. So I talked to the director that had them up there, and she had mentioned, I would love to go see Niagara Falls sometime. Well, in our job, you could pick whatever part of the United States you would like to go to. It didn't matter. If they had a body of water there, you could have tournaments there. So I talked to that director. I said, why do you always pick New York? And he said, well, because I thought none of y'all liked it. That's the only reason I do it. I said, I'd like it this year. So he said, okay, I won't pick it. So I did, and we got to go see Niagara Falls 5 times.
Oh,
so
that's pretty cool.
And, but that was 100% the Lord. Yeah. Just give us that job so we could go anywhere we wanted to go. And like she said, be in the truck where you're planning your next 2 or 3 days before the tournament or 2 or 3 days after the tournament. And you made mention one of the grandkids I spent a ton of time with. We was into the competition shooting at the time, and he would go with us, and we might be gone 3 weeks straight on the road, but we would plan a shooting adventure on the way or on the way home. And just little things that I know, we were talking about making memories with the grandkids, and something he will never forget is the first time he ever saw the Great Lakes.
Oh, wow.
And we went, seen every one of them with him. Mm-hmm. And he, one day, just out of the blue, hey, stop a minute. Right there's a boat ramp. Back down into that boat ramp. Well, I just stopped, turned around, back down into that boat ramp. He got out and run out there and stood waist deep in one of the Great Lakes. I said, what's that all about? He said, I just wanted to say I've been in the Great Lake.
Oh, wow.
So
something simple.
Just memories, you know. So,
I like it. And, well, since y'all did it 5 times, I'm guessing it's worth seeing.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The Canadian side is a lot prettier
That's
than
what I've heard.
the American
Yeah.
side.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. But the Canadian side is just gorgeous.
It's breathtaking at how powerful it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it is so powerful.
We've got the American Baptist Association has a national meeting next summer in June, where it always is, the weekend starting the Monday after Father's Day. It's in Erie, Pennsylvania, and so I'll be right there on, I guess that'd be Lake Erie.
Yep.
And then, so we have an opportunity either before or after, if we get the planning right, to run up there.
Yeah. It's neat up there.
Okay.
It is. It is. You know. But
That was-
something you said during your devotional during Senior Saints really struck a chord with me that kind of goes with this, is where you were saying, did you ever get a job where you just said the Lord provided that, or there's no doubt about it, that was provided by the Lord, because we will look at each other even now and say, did you ever think when we were first married that we would end up going and doing and traveling? Because we've seen everything that we want to see or could see, and luckily didn't cost us a dime. And I said, now we don't want to leave the house. I mean, we're just like, we don't want to go travel. A lot of couples retire and they're ready to go travel. We've seen everything we want to see, but the way that job came about, Anthony just knew a guy and stopped to help him. He had a flat tire, and isn't that how it kind of came about?
His trailer lights wouldn't work. And
Yeah, and Anthony stopped and you just tell it. You tell it.
I had bought a brand new truck. We was at a big event that you had to qualify for, and there would be 350 boats at it. And just so happened he was from Hot Springs, and I was talking to him. He said, man, I got issues. I ain't going to be able to go home tonight. My trailer lights won't work. I said, what's wrong? What's different? He said he left his boat there for a week. Immediately I thought, rats chewed his wires into or something. It'll be simple. Well, then it become even more simple. He said, I bought a brand new truck, and that's all I've done. Well, the paint wasn't making a connection on his hitch pin. First thing I asked him for, and it scared him, was a hammer. I just beat that hitch pin in a couple of licks, and his trailer lights went to work. And he was just like, whoa, I've heard of getting a bigger hammer would fix stuff. And that's literally how it happened. And a couple of weeks later, they called and needed some people to work in Louisiana, and it just snowballed from there. But like she said, it was the Lord. We've been in Connecticut having tournaments, and then your next tournament would be on the opposite coast. And
Oh, my.
so you're traveling through all the deserts. This happened 10 times during our tenure of doing tournaments. And so you have a week in between your tournaments, and you could just see all the beautiful deserts. And doing fishing tournaments, you'd never think you could see the deserts, but they're breathtaking too, kind of like seeing Niagara Falls.
We live in a beautiful country.
Oh,
Beautiful
Lord, just
country.
What desert? The Mojave?
Mojave.
Mojave Desert, yeah.
Yeah, he
Probably the prettiest one
He
of
had to
all.
go out to California when he was going to do a Bass Pro tournament, and he had to look at a site out in California. So he had to go through there, and he called me. He said, "Gail, I believe this is the most beautiful landscape I've ever laid my eyes on out here."
Yeah, some of the most beautiful places can also be the scariest because they're, whether it be extremely dry, extremely hot, extremely
Stuff that'll kill you. Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
And
yes.
I've only been through one significant desert, and it was the one when I was traveling out to Tucson, Arizona. And that, I guess it was across southern New Mexico, and those dust devils or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you know they'd be 100, 150 feet high, and I'm like, I'd count 12, 13, 17. I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
I remember when your kids all lived out there, it always, I would remember like a light bulb going off at 2 a.m. Oh, that's where I'm getting gas at. It's their hometown. I ought to give them a call. But those deserts out there, yeah, just like you're saying, they're beautiful.
Well, it's just like, you were talking about seeing God work. You can see God's hand working like that. But sometimes you have to look. God's working in your life. So you're going to find what you're looking for. I love that you say that all the time. But, yeah, you got to pay attention. But God will show you who he is.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and it's like Brother Michael said it from the pulpit a bunch of times, and they sing that praise song about it of, he's working even though you don't see him
That's
working.
right.
Well, we heard a brand spanking new preacher put it a different way. He had put 2 big balls of string on his kite, and it was so high you couldn't see it. And a neighbor lady stopped by and said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm flying my kite." She looked up there, like, "I don't see no kite." He said, "Well, get a hold of this string. It's there." And that's the same thing.
Right. And that's good stuff.
Yeah.
I like that. It's a good illustration.
Neat illustration. You got it all, Rob?
I think we're good.
All right. Well, thank y'all so much for joining
Yes,
us
we
today.
love y'all so much. Y'all are such a blessing for our, and I call it our church family.
It is.
So glad y'all are, well, I got to join y'all actually, but so glad y'all are our family. We love y'all so much.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for
everything you
having
do.
us. Thank you.
Yeah. And because y'all are not extremely tied down, and at a little bit slower pace, y'all are able to join us today. And thank y'all for taking a few minutes to
Sure.
be here.
Anytime.
And for everybody that listening out there, and just feel free to share this podcast, and it'll be, and share the news. It'll be on YouTube, Spotify, Google Play Store, Apple Podcast, and it'll be on all those formats. And so thank you again for joining us today. Hope you have a blessed day.